Good day to you, my name is Walt. Welcome to my channel. If you're new to my channel, I'm reviewing books and comics, mainly comics. Every 2 weeks or so I do single issues, and this is what I will be doing today. But before I start, I want to let you know about my comic sale, which is still going on until Wednesday. I'm selling off a lot of new stock, absolute editions, omnibus editions, hardcovers, trade paperbacks for really good prices. So if you wanna buy cheap comics or just want to support the channel, or maybe even both, then go to the link. I will put it in the description and buy comics from me. But now I will be talking about the new issues that came out in the past 2 weeks. Alright, let's get into the reviewing part of the video, and it's not a lot of books this time. My favorite ones are here towards the end, so you can skip ahead if you want, if you don't want to hear about the more average books. And one of them, unfortunately, was the Weathermen #4. It's by Jody LeUp, Nathan Fox and Dave Stewart on colors. The art team is really fantastic still. I really enjoyed it. There are some parts which I got a bit confused. There are like certain rules. You know, if you like this page here, can you see it here? I hope you can. Where I was somehow combining those panels into one location, but it's not. The first panel is a location outside, and the rest of the panels are set on in a penthouse. So okay, but this is just a little thing that I noticed. Otherwise, the coloring is really cool, and it's a lot of fun to just look at the energy which comes off the pages. The writing, on the other hand, was not very focused here, and I felt like this while reading the last issue too. #3, and I was almost like willing to quit, but then I gave it another chance. Didn't really took the chance to make me buy the next one, unfortunately. The main character only shows up for a few pages here, and it's a interesting premise which was explained in the first and part of the second issue, but then it didn't go forward. A lot of new characters got introduced, but the story didn't really advance. At least this is how I felt about it. And I really don't care about all those new characters popping up and about their motivations and needs and wants and whatever. And yeah, maybe this will read better in a trade. Next up is Hulk #6. I was a big fan of the series until now, until this issue. This was a bit of a letdown, which is not to be blamed on the art. It's by a guest artist, Lee Garbett, and the coloring is by Paul Mounts, and it looks really nice. I really enjoyed the feel of it. It's still this dark tonality. It still has this horror vibe, but then it doesn't go anywhere. Here is a lot of talking, you know, just standing around in some locations and talk, which is fine for a few pages, but you know, the dynamic of a story, especially if the comic is called Hulk, should be like, stuff is happening, then we get a break, then stuff is happening, then we get a break. But this is one long break, this whole issue. And yeah, it looks pretty good. Yeah, there was another thing. Here Alpha Flight shows up. And I was confused because for me Alpha Flight are still those guys from Canada. But now there seem to be like, I've read about it. I haven't read the series, but they seem to be like space-based operation, and it doesn't make any sense, you know. Shaman, who's like Native American connected with the spirits of the earth, and he's like in some space station and hanging out in the space station. Why? And someone just doesn't know how to draw a book. Doesn't look right. So whatever. Then the Avengers show up. We'll get a big fight with the Avengers in the next issue. This was an intermediate issue. Maybe it will pick up from the next one, but my problem with it is that, you know, it built up this whole mystery, and I wanted to go somewhere or to feel more dense. Maybe it's, you know, maybe it's already over. the mystery part, the dark part, and superheroics are kicking in. We'll see. Cold Spots issue 1. It's written by Cullen Bunn and drawn by Mark Torres. Issue 2 was already released. I just finished issue 1 yesterday. And yeah, it starts a bit bland, you know, when you open the page. I really love the cover, by the way. It's fantastic. But then the cover and the coloring and the tonality is the same on the first page and the same on this double page. And I was like, oh my god, it's a super boring book which is in this super desaturated non-color thing. But then stuff happened and it really popped. So yeah, it's interesting. It works with color really, really well, and it uses color really well. And the atmosphere is it's strong. It's like haunted house, I would say, the genre. But yeah, I didn't completely get the story, but being it being a horror story, it's okay. It's still building up, but I don't need to have it in single issues. I will get the trade for this one. Next up is Beyonders by Paul Jenkins and Wesley St. Clair. I think number 2 of this series is also already released. And I liked it. I like the writing. It's maybe it's a bit too much for one issue. Maybe Paul Jenkins wanted too much of it. It has this fourth wall thing where someone is addressing the reader, and I don't know if it's the character in the book or if it's a narrator. If it's the character, does he know more about his story, which is about to unfold, than is shown in the panels? You know, is he like narrating his past? Or this was all not quite clear to me, but maybe I wasn't focused enough when reading it. The art is a little bit blandish, I would say. It's not what sold this book. It's more the premise of a big conspiracy, a guy being into big conspiracies, also historical ones. I'm not very interested in current conspiracies. They seem pretty far-fetched and stupid, but when it gets more historical, I'm interested. And yeah, this was fun. There is this film, what's the name of it, where a guy is under observation. He's like, the Truman Show. He's part of an experiment, and this could go into this direction. And yeah, I would love to get it. Now, if the second issue has already been released, I will probably get it in trade, but yeah, it's a good book. Next up is Stellar. Oh, this should have been like with my favorite books, because it was really good. I told you about it, that I was a bit undecided on the art, but now I'm loving it. It's by Brett Blevins. He's doing the art and the coloring, and the writer is Joe Keatinge, and it's beautiful. And it gets better with every issue, and it's not easy to follow because the dynamics and the settings and the characters, they're changing from issue to issue, basically. Like now we're in a whole different situation, and I've already forgot a little bit what happened in the first 3. But I know there is some dark past, some dark things that happened in the past, and yeah, this past is haunting our main character. Her name is Stellar, and there are some beautiful pages in here. It's just a joy to look at, and I feel so attracted to the character and to the setting, and yeah, I don't know, something is really, it's very touching, and it's weird because I still don't understand the story very well, and it's it works, and I blame the art. I think the art is telling more than the information that we got through the writing. Look at this page. I posted it also on Twitter. It's such a beautiful page, and yeah, it was really good, really really good. This is one of the hidden gems in the market right now. All right, next up we have two books by Vault Comics. Vault is a pretty new publisher. They're trying to do the image model. Yes, that's it basically. I don't know if there's anything different about them. I know that they don't pay their creators, and they just basically publish the books for them. So you have to have a team, of a creative team, and basically produce the book yourself, and then Vault will publish it for you. And yeah, the books look really good, and they're quite professional. They've gotten really professional really fast. The quality of the paper or of the cover, it's not perfect. On Fearscape it's a bit better. On Friendo it was a bit cheap. But yeah, I don't mind. It's written by Alex Pecknadel and drawn by Martin Simmons, colored by Dee Cunniffe. And this was pretty cool, pretty interesting, pretty intriguing. You have this cover, which is already like, okay, this has to be some kind of sci-fi book, and it is. It's about a future where, you know, it's a whole generation of people who are not needed anymore, which I think is basically our future. So people are irrelevant to the system. You don't need them for work. They hardly get by. And the only way to, you know, to make to make it through the day is to get involved, to take drugs, or to hang out in the virtual reality and create a virtual friend. And this is what our main character is doing here. And yeah, it's a lot of setup. It's a lot of world building, not a lot of story. But I liked it. I thought it looked really cool. I like the you know, the whole sci-fi premise of it. It looks at society, and this is what Alex Pecknadel is really good at. He looks at society from a very critical angle. And there is a quote by E.M. Cioran, who is a Romanian philosopher who I love dearly, on the last page. So I need to get the second issue. This really sold me, that he has this quote. Sometimes it really works to have, you know, to just get someone, put him on the page, and sell it to other people as your work. It's basically what this book is about. I didn't plan this, but yeah, it's exactly what this book is about. We have a very unsympathetic main character. It's this guy here, a writer, a very unsuccessful writer. He's working as a translator, but he has like this novel in him, or at least he believes that. But for some reasons, because he's just not productive and he's an ass, he never writes anything. He just hopes for this fantastic great novel to unfold in the future. And yeah, well, since it's not happening, he might as well like get it from someone else, from his best friend. So he steals it. This is the beginning of the book, and then weird things start to happen. Well, I think it's okay to spoil this. The Muse shows up and picks him up and goes with him into a virtual world of storytelling. So this is heavily meta. As you can see already on the first page here, where the writer who's addressing us as readers, again, it's a new thing, and he's telling us about the medium and how he wants to approach the writing. And it's, I think, if it sticks to landing, it will be fantastic. If not, it will, the whole pretentious writing of the character in the book could turn out to be the pretentious writing of the writer of this comic. And his name is Ryan O'Sullivan, who was very cool. He sent it to me beforehand, and I could read a few pages already before I ordered it. And yeah, I think it has a great potential, and I will subscribe to it because I believe in it. Yeah, another thing that sold it to me was the art by Andrea Mutti and the coloring by Vladimir Popov. Everything looks really nice. I mean, I've showed you this page. It's really fantastic. And like I said, I just hope, because it reminded me a bit of this here, Her Infernal Descent, where I also loved the first issue, but we'll see. I want to stay positive on it, and I will give it a thumbs up. Next up is Phantasmagoria, written by Eric M. Esquivel and James E. Fino. It's a $2 book, basically an anthology of Mexican-themed horror. I didn't really enjoy it, unfortunately. I thought the art is a bit amateurish, and it's like this kind of very goofy horror book, very cartoonish. I'm just maybe not the right audience for it. It just didn't grab me. Oh, this part of the art was really cool. So they have different artists in different sections of the book, and they're all like short stories. Yeah. Next up, Venom number 6. This was also a pretty, a talky issue. Well, not quite. Stuff is happening. It still looks so much like Spawn. I mean, it's cool. It's cool, but I thought, like, well, 6 issues in, I'm like, okay, this whole story, I mean, as splashy and cool as it looks, you could have put this into like 2 or 3 issues, basically. And yeah, I don't know. I want to see more like normal things here. Everything is very, very, very big and very, very push, bash, dash, and crazy, and look at this, and look at this, and look at this. Well, okay, I've seen it. Now just tell me a normal, just tell me about Eddie Brock's life. What it's like to be Eddie Brock and having this alien in your head all the time. This would interest me for a few issues, and then we can go back to like, look at this. Okay, now we come to my favorite 3 books, and I will start with Ice Cream Man. So every time, every week, every time Ice Cream Man comes out, it's my favorite book because it's the best book on the stands right now. It's a horror book, and each issue tells one particular story. They are somehow connected through this Ice Cream Man in the title. We don't really know how yet. And I think we get closer to it. And this issue was as good as the others. Every issue has a very distinct style to it. And I loved it. I think it's super pretty. What's his first name? Morazzo. Maxwell Prince is the writer, and Martin Morazzo is the art. Colors by Chris O'Halloran, and yeah, it's a super sad story about a little girl who loses her best friend. And yeah, it's hard for her to accept that she's dead. So she imagines her to be alive. But is she? Yeah, it's really good. It's really, really good. Next up, Doctor Strange, number 5. Yeah, it's still going very strong by Mark Waid and Jesus Saiz. And it's a beautiful book. Looks really cool. It's still Doctor Strange in space, probably for the last issue. He's coming back. And it's very condensed storytelling. A lot is happening here. I also love that Mark Waid is using narrator boxes here. So you have it. Where is it? So he's changing from. Well, there have been a few. Yeah, here. So he's changing from action and the present tense, and then goes into a more meta narrator's voice, where he condenses a lot of story that is happening. And yeah, it's a very fulfilling read, and I think it will go down as a seminal run for Doctor Strange. And if you don't get it, you should start maybe with the next issue, because this is where he comes back to Earth and crazy stuff will be happening. And the last one is Action Comics by Brian Michael Bendis. It's number 1003, and it's perfect comic making in my book. I'm getting really hooked on Brian Michael Bendis again. His writing here is flawless, and not only his writing, but also the art by Yannick Paquette and the colors by Nathan Fairbank. It's fantastic. I mean, look at this. Such a good storyteller. Brian Michael Bendis really excels at how to work a page and when to end a page. So every page is like a little cliffhanger, and it was really hard to overlook with this one. You really, when you're getting here, you want to see what's happening next. And I love this about this book. The playfulness, the warmth that is in his Superman writing is perfect for the character, I think. And yes, it was not spectacular, but the whole feel of it, of the world, of this new world Bendis is exploring with Clark, was great. And then there is a little guest cameo by Mr. Batman. It looks really cool. Yeah, fantastic. This could be also like Gotham Central here. Look at it. The mood, the atmosphere. Also like the change of mood here. Look at this. So here we have the woman walking down the street. Everything's normal. Then we get here, and all of a sudden, it's the dark Gotham. Yeah, it was really good. And I really enjoyed it. Oh yeah, and one last book, which I didn't enjoy that much. I almost forgot about it. It's Heroes in Crisis, number 1. So, what is it about? It's a big event by Tom King, Clayman, and who's the colorist? The colorist is, I don't know. Here, Tomu Morey. I think you've probably read about it. There is a big thing going on in the DC universe that all the heroes are depressed and burnt out, and they need to have a break, and they go to this place called the Sanctuary, and this is where they recharge and have their therapy sessions and whatever. And this is all what I've told you is part of the backstory. I thought that this will be the main story, what the book is about, but this is like this story starts later, and we find out that something really bad happened in this sanctuary. That one superhero snapped and killed others. Wow, big thing. One superhero is killing other superheroes, and I won't tell you who's the killer and who are the killed. But frankly, if you're, I don't really get the logic behind it. If you're really invested in those heroes, then you will be like fucked up, because it's not even told in it's not on, it's off, it's backstory. So they're just like dead now, and you'll be really pissed. If you don't know those heroes or don't have a special relationship to them like me, you just don't care, and you're like, okay, so some heroes died, whatever. Yeah, I didn't felt that it's relevant. I didn't felt that it has the energy to become like an interesting epic story. It felt more like, okay, look, we killed some heroes, this is super controversial, and yeah, the tonality is interesting because it's very, very still. It's very restrained. And yeah, that was interesting, as was the art by Clayman. It looked really pretty. But I don't see why I should continue getting it. Yeah, that's all I have to say about it. But the last thing, which is really positive, it's a $3.99 book for a cardstock cover event book. Congrats, CC, you know how to treat your fans. This is really cool. Now, if the story would be any good, it would be even better. Okay, that's it by me. Thanks for watching. Thanks for ordering books from me. Thanks for commenting, and see you soon. Bye-bye.